Hey, what's up, everyone? Ben here from Profitable DJ. I have DJ KrisCut, who is a Las Vegas resident here. She DJs all over the place here on the Strip at some of the hottest places on the Las Vegas Strip. In addition to that, she also has a pretty large Twitch following, so you can definitely follow her on Twitch as well. And I've also checked out her social media, so definitely there's a decent amount of followers on there as well. So what's up, DJ KrisCut? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Ben. Nice to meet you. And
Yeah.
First time meeting you, awesome. I got to check you out earlier with your talk. A lot of great things that really resonated with me and reaffirmed the fact I'm really glad to still be a full-time DJ.
Absolutely, especially after the pandemic, right?
Right.
Let's talk about that. So how did the pandemic, affect your business?
So for me, I was also still a full-time DJ. So I was doing 3 to 5 nights a week here and there, still working under an agency. And when pandemic hit, I knew I was in trouble. You know, we all knew, like, industry-wise, what are we gonna do? You know, the dancers, the singers, the DJs, all of us were like, what are we gonna do? Hopefully this is only a couple months, and that became, 2 years? Yeah. So yeah, it hit me hard like it hit everyone, but I actually was kind of it was weird. Like, it was the best thing that could have happened to me as a DJ and entertainer. So I could talk about that a little bit later.
How so?
But yeah, I found streaming. It changed me as an artist, as a DJ, a performer, a business person. I was able to take the worst of a situation in the world, like the whole pandemic. We were all in lockdown. I was looking for an avenue to we were all trying to occupy our time. And, as DJs and artists, musicians, we were like craving that, performance part. I was like, I still want to DJ for a friend. So at first I was on Facebook Live.
Nice.
For my family. I was like, hey guys, you guys want to listen to me DJ and hang out with me and, catch up in the chat, But unfortunately, Facebook Live as well as IG the music got taken down. I was still getting copyright hits
oh geez,
2 years later. But anyway, so that part of streaming, made me look at streaming as okay, well, I heard about this website called Twitch, where they won't cut you off. So that was the best part. We could all hang out, and a lot of the DJs were migrating to Twitch. Yeah. Now, there was a select handful of us that were able to really pull our audiences from Facebook and IG Live into the Twitch platform. And that's where it all started. And from there, we just took it and ran, It was fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
So in regards to your Twitch, I mean, it blew up, right? So you got quite a lot of followers. For someone that's watching, there's a lot of DJs that are watching right now. Is there any piece of advice you could give them on how to get started in the Twitch world, how to build up a loyal following and so forth? Because you went through all that.
Right. So we were all in a place where no one knew what was going on. No one knew. I was digging and digging on Twitch. I'm like, oh, I heard I can monetize. It took me 2 or 3 days to really find the part that said, okay, this is how you monetize or get affiliate status. Now you get people to subscribe to you. A lot of us were lost. But more importantly, too, when we got on Twitch, you realize it takes you not just from being a regular DJ, you are now really more full-blown entertainer, because people are not only seeing or listening to the music, they're seeing your personality. Yeah. Especially if you're one that talks on the mic. So we found that, we found that for a successful Twitch channel, you can't just stand there and just and then expect people to watch you for 3 or 4 hours. So the most important part for me for Twitch was the connection I made with all of the people in my community. So the way I have my Twitch set up is, a camera. At first it was just a camera and then a big monitor for my chat. So there's a chat room in Twitch for people who are unfamiliar. It's you stream and people can interact with you, and it makes it more personal. So I actually have a mic, my DJ system, everything connected, and I have the chat room, and I make sure to acknowledge everybody in the chat that comes in.
Cool. So you give them a shout out.
I give them a shout out.
They feel special.
They feel special, and the connection. Like I said, the whole human connection aspect of Twitch was so important in building a great community. Because I would always say too, not everybody was successful on Twitch because they didn't have. You don't have to necessarily kiss butt because that shows. You know what I mean? You have to be yourself. If you're not a pleasant person, I guess if that's not your personality, Twitch might be a difficult thing for you to navigate if you're trying to build that kind of channel. But there are people who like channels, like I said, where you can just play music and they don't mind having it in the background.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I became a full-blown entertainer, and people got to know me, and I got to know my chat. And I think that's why it's been so successful even now, for like 3 years later. I'm very grateful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then how often do you go live?
I still go live 2 or 3 times a week, even after like.
So active, yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I thought too, like what you have to look at Twitch as too for me, besides it being a business, was I now say like DJing, my gigs is work, but going on Twitch is like my downtime to hang out with my chat. I might be playing music and multitasking and talking to the chat, but I really, really do enjoy it. So if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to thrive in it, I think is really important.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And how did you start as a DJ in the first place?
Oh, man. So, like, you have been doing this for 22 years now as a DJ. I didn't know I was going to last that long, but I'm blessed. I love it. And long story short, I was in a singing group. Singing group didn't work out. The DJ who mixed our first ever performance track together, we did a Janet medley with my singing group. This was like the late 90s, early 2000s. I was following him around as he was DJing because he only lived 5 minutes away from me. So I go, hey, can I go to the gigs with you and just watch what you're doing? But honestly, I was going there to go club and party, like and
be a part of the scene,
meet people and do all that stuff. So he would set up and break down equipment, and like I would go with him like 9 o'clock at the club, drink, hang out with my friends, go home at like 1 in the morning after he's all breaking down. And one day I was like, my singing group, like unfortunately we didn't work. I said, hey, can you teach me how to do this? Like, I think I might be good at it. I think I might be good at DJing. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, whatever. Like, because when somebody says, hey, teach me how to DJ, sometimes you're like, are you serious?
Yeah, right. Because they don't want
because it's time. Yeah,
whatever.
both ways, right? But
Definitely.
then, I was already, like I said, musically inclined. I graduated with a music business degree. So I was
great.
Definitely all about, like, I still want to do something in music. How I started was, he was teaching somebody else. And I said, oh, can I come by at his house? And sure enough, I touched turntables for the first time. It's like, yeah, here's a scratch. Try to do this scratch. And then I did it really quick, and they were just like, no way. You did that right? Takes like some people weeks to do like a flare scratch or whatever. So I felt like, that kind of ignited a fire in me. I'm like, maybe I could do this. But I wasn't thinking ahead.
Yeah,
I was just like, I just want to learn.
You wanted to learn, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, this is something musical and this is cool. So that's how I got into DJing. And, now here I am, like, the guy that taught me how to DJ is actually my husband now.
Oh, really? Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a funny story because, we were friends for like 3 years and we never looked at each other in that way.
Yeah.
But then, like, oh, you teach me how to DJ. Well, cool. Like,
you spent some time together.
Right?
Yeah,
we were already close, but yeah.
That's
I always
awesome.
joke with him. I'm like, if somebody else would have taught me to DJ, I probably would have married them. He was joke. But, that gives us that common ground. And that's why I think we have a beautiful relationship because we're both
great.
DJs and we don't, I'm not mad if he's out because he has to do club or whatever.
I was just going to say, so he still DJs as well.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
But we have also pivoted on that whole, like, after 20 years, like now we have our own like event business or, the other parts of income besides me, like doing the DJing,
Yeah.
So, moving forward from just being the DJ, like yourself. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then do you have kids?
I have no kids.
No kids? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was just curious to find out if you're teaching them now, as mom and dad are DJs. Yeah.
I think just like on a tangent, I think that was the difficult part for us, both being like that, like starving artist DJ part. We never figured like we would have time to have kids. And as time went by, it just kind of flew by so fast, a regret, but not, because this industry is like very, you need a lot of energy, right?
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and especially if mom and dad are out, then it's like who watches the kids?
Who watch the kids?
So it's probably easier for your lifestyle as well.
Yeah,
right?
and I would joke, I'll be like, I've had my friends, shout out to my other girlfriends who have been pregnant and still like they're DJ
rocking it?
Up until like the 7th month, and then they'll take, but shout out to them. I know like that could take away like as far as that's why I could still full-time stream and full-time DJ because I just don't have any. I don't even have fur babies, unfortunately. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about like the funnest memory that sticks out in your entire career as a DJ. What are some like fun? You can even choose like 3 if you want, but one main one.
One main one, okay, this is gonna date me a little bit. When I got to DJ the first MySpace party.
Oh, sweet.
That
Okay.
was a fun one. I meet Tom, you know, everyone's like, Tom. So if you know that.
Did he look like
He
the
looks
way he looked like in the
exactly
picture?
like
Yeah. Okay. I was always curious if it was like a fake photo or if it was actually him.
No, it was him, like, turn around.
Yeah.
Whatever that look is.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, honestly, like, I've never in my career done like a full festival or like anything like Coachella or EDC, because when I first moved here to Vegas in 2003, it was a different industry back then. I mean, it was still vinyl. Yeah. Like, I'm playing vinyl records. I mean, music wasn't shared as openly. You know, now somebody can grab somebody's hard drive and, you know, curate their own. You know, back then we collected the records, you know, we did the work. And when I got my residency out here in Vegas, it was very difficult to try to travel. As much as people say, hey, come to whatever city or here, you know, I hear you in this Vegas club. I couldn't take the time off because somebody is going to try to come in and poach that gig.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In here, especially at a city like Las Vegas. So as far as being a Vegas DJ, what I've noticed as far as the evolution of our industry is that if you come here to, you know, for all the DJs that want to come here and move here and become a DJ, it doesn't matter where you're from. You could be like the hottest DJ in your city. You know, like you could say, okay, I'm from LA, I'm from New York, or, you know, I'm the #1 DJ in like the city in Ohio. That does not necessarily like matter here. They don't care as far as when you get a residency, unless you're like Tiesto or, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I really had to work my way up with relationships and just being a reliable DJ. And I think that's so important, right? Like when you want to build that residency somewhere, like, so I couldn't leave. Like once I got my residencies, I couldn't travel as much, or I would have to like really be picky about taking days off, even though I was trying to build my career in that way.
Yeah.
Like doing nightclubs, or like, you know, I was doing nightclubs a lot. But then, you know, after 20 years, I evolved into more corporate and like, you know, lounge and of course streaming now. So
Yeah. What would you say for a person that is watching this that's looking to break into their own city, right? I understand Las Vegas is definitely a unique beast, right? But it's still a metropolitan large city, right? What kind of advice would you give someone that's like just starting out and they're like, hey, I want to do what KrisCut does, in a sense of trying to, you know, break into the nightlife industry and, you know, maybe lock down a residency at my local nightclub? Like, what kind of advice could you give them?
Well, so what I found was, of course, you know, the marketing part of ourselves, especially at this day and age. I know a lot of people are against the whole, like, you know, Instagram follower, like too many just based on that. I don't like that either, but I feel the most important part is just going out there and meeting like the people at the venues you might want to play at. But don't be pushy about it. Like,
you're talking about the promoters,
you know,
or
like,
the
well,
managers?
It depends if it's like an agency run. Like here in Vegas, everything is agency run. So I noticed that maybe other cities might have an agency that targets, like they maybe have a monopoly on that, you know, certain, you know, maybe like if you're in LA, oh, so-and-so ABC group runs that venue, make sure you contact them.
Yeah.
I always tell all the other DJs, make sure you look at the venue, see if there's an agency who runs it, maybe talk to the DJ and be like, introduce yourself, but don't look like you're trying to poach. But say, you know, I'm trying to like, you know, work my way and, you know, show up, show your face. I've noticed that with a couple of my other DJ friends, all they did was continue to go to that venue, go to the bar, get to know the staff. And then one time they're like, oh, they told my friend, hey, you're a DJ, right? You want to do a spot here? And it's as simple as that sometimes, right? Yeah. So without being too aggressive.
Cover, right? It's like, hey, I know that this person can cover possibly. And then what about in regargons to agencies? Like, did you put together like a EPK or, and I guess for the listeners, like EPK is electronic press kit, you know, to try to look more formalized and professional, or did you just contact them?
If they request the EPK, I remember back then, right? It was hand your CD out with your business card, but now it's different, or they want your SoundCloud, or I guess it based on the venue. It really depends. We all know how important personal relationships are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like some managers will book their nephews or whatever, you know, but like I said, for me, I feel like I did have an EPK when the client requested like just one page about like summary, like where I've been, what my format is, little picture, contact info. And that worked really well for me. Yeah. It wasn't too aggressive. But then again, like for the amount of time I've been in the industry here, I've really just relied on people like reference and word of
Oh, okay, gotcha.
At this point, you know, word of
Because you have a
mouth.
reputation, right?
Yeah,
So it's like
building
people
a
gonna
good
validate
reputation.
and vouch for you.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I think
Yeah.
that's the most important part. People like will see your work ethic more than anything. So
Yeah.
if they're just starting out and you don't have any experience, you know, once you get that first gig, show up 2 hours early, and you know, like you know, so that's really.
So I guess it really comes down to like, you know, working relationships, but also make sure that once you do get that first opportunity, you really crush it. You show up early, prepared, right, and that you're reliable. Yeah. And then once you do lock down your first residency, you know, I mean, KrisCut mentioned that she had to, you know, forego vacations or other residencies or opportunities afar so that she could stay true to her commitments, right? Which then builds a really a reputation that, you know, people feel like they can count on her, right? So I think that's definitely really important as well.
Right, especially in a city like this too, like where people are moving in and out, a lot of transient, you know, like I know I've been doing this for a long time, so people are like, okay, you know, my venue's opening and I trust you as an opening DJ or like a resident DJ. But I've also closed venues. I feel like I've jinxed myself. I've closed like 3 or 4 or 5 clubs because they would have to do, you know, I'd be the resident, they'd have to do that revamping of their venue.
Oh,
and so I did have 2 major dips in my career besides the 3rd dip of pandemic. But those 2 were, they're very substantial. We're almost retired from DJing.
Oh, wow.
I went back to like doing a day job twice in my career. And I also, it was a lot more mental, like for me too. Like the first time, you know, I was a little younger and first time I lost my residency because it was like closing down or something. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? I don't have any opportunities here. And you're right, it's like all about, you know, mindset. And I was just like, what am I gonna do? I was able to pivot from those 2 really like crazy like low points that I learned from in my life and then turn it back around and go back to full-time DJing.
I see.
Yeah, but I did have a dip where I was working a day job for like maybe, I think the second dip was like a year.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it was very humbling to go back to like, okay, I'm gonna work hourly. And I was actually in a very low paying position where I saw my first paycheck for like 35 hours of my week was the equivalent of like 1 gig. That I could have got where I would work for 4 hours, and it really gave me so much more respect and like I said, it was very humbling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you realize, hey, we're blessed to be doing this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
36 hours versus 4 hours.
And it's fun.
Yeah, I was at a call center. So I was like,
gotcha.
Oh my God,
Just getting hung up on
like
constantly.
call after call, and I go home wiped out.
Oh, wow.
Can't even enjoy my day. And so when, you know, I'm a very faithful person. When God gave me that opportunity to come back, did you learn your lesson, you know, from the last experience? Because the second time I had a dip in my career was a very bad falling out with the agency and the venues I was working with. And then I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? So it was very humbling, like I said. And we have to learn from those.
Absolutely.
Right? Never going to always be 100% successful the first time around. So
one thing that one of my mentors says that I love is that there's work that works for you and there's work that works on you.
Right.
Yeah. So the work that works for you is like when you're fully booked, right? You're making cash, you're having fun, like all that kind of stuff, and it really boosts your career up. That work is working for you, right? It's benefiting your life. And there's other times where you had to go back to, you know, like a normal 9-to-5 type of job that was very humbling. Yeah. But I'm sure that experience worked on you.
Oh,
right?
it did.
It built character and provided you a ton of wisdom and so forth.
Absolutely. I felt like I needed to hit that second low point. Like that was pretty much rock bottom my second time. But then as I was getting called again for work, for DJing, I was like, hey, this is a sign that you're not done yet and you might have a purpose. There's like a purpose for me to still be DJing and playing music. And then, you know, I like ironically, pandemic came around and then, you know, I was building up my full time again and then we all had to stop like everyone else. And I found another avenue that is actually more fulfilling to me in life. Like
you get to talk directly to people.
I get to talk.
Right?
I've hosted like 2 meetups. I've gone to like there's like some Twitch meetups. Like I went to Hawaii. I went to the Bay Area. I went to Florida. And had I not decided to take that leap on Twitch and like, you know, really want to share my love of music and like connections with people, I don't think I would have ever gone those places. And DJing during pandemic. Imagine if they called you back, right? 2 years, they're like, hey, we got a gig for you. You're out of practice for 2 years. Let's be real, right? Are you going to be able to do a 4-hour set? And so because I was still DJing, it was a smooth transition back into the real world of DJing for me. I was like, oh, no problem, I got you. Because, I would still like download new music and play, so that was a godsend for me. I honestly, I built so many great relationships, and my career is actually probably at its peak right now. So,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you said you have meetups, so you actually get to meet some of your fans?
I don't like saying fans.
No?
Followers,
Follower,
like community members,
Gotcha.
Twitch family.
She's humble.
It's just, I'm just I really feel like that word, humbled and blessed, because like I said, not a lot of people are built for streaming. But for me, all I tell people if they wanted, I think the question we circle back to on the Twitch thing is, you can only be yourself, because on camera, everything shows, right? You can't fake the funk with people. You can't be they'll see right through you.
They'll see right through it, yeah.
So I've been my honest self. I've cried on my streams,
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I mean, we've had a lot of lost people, and even just in this last year, a lot of our Twitch community members. Oh, do you remember so and so, Joanne 44 whatever? She passed away from cancer, and then we would all mourn together as a community, because it hits us hard, right? Because we all made those human connections, and that's why I'm still doing Twitch, because I feel like I don't want to abandon that community that was there for me. I needed them as much as they needed me, right? For mental health's sake.
Wow, that's incredible.
So
way to find your calling and your purpose.
I think it's incredible, and I think that I was able, as one of the first DJs on Twitch, honestly, probably there's about 15 of us. I really felt like people looked to my page, to my channel, to get their ideas from, and I was okay with that. You know what I mean? I wasn't oh no, I'm gonna protect all my secrets and you can't copy me, right?
So you had an abundance mindset where you're willing to be okay with that, because there's plenty of followers to go around for everybody, right?
Yeah. So we had to be innovative. How do we get people to our channel? And shout out to my husband, because he's my sound tech.
Oh, is he? Okay, cool.
So what had happened was, because of that, he was looking into all the lighting and the stage, everything. He grew too.
Yeah.
Because he had to also pivot, and now our event company does streaming services.
Amazing. Yeah.
So
all built
in because we decided, when you give, like you said, when you give back somehow, you'll get it in return in the universe. Absolutely. And I feel like that was amazing. So people were looking to my channel, hey, how did you do this? How did you do that? And I think at the time I felt like my channel was one of the more innovative DJ channels. And then now I'm like, wow, I'm way behind. But I could see how people were kind of took the inspiration or things I did, and then they made it their own.
Yeah.
And I'm never gonna be hating on that, because whatever you do to better yourself, your channel, there's enough food on the table, everyone can eat.
For sure.
Yeah, for Twitch, it's.
I think it's also ingrained in our DJ culture, right? Is that we don't like to bite, right? But it's about inspiration and taking certain parts and then making it your own and making it a little better in your own way, right? I mean, that goes all the way back to the 80s and 90s even, the vinyl days. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think the craziest part about Twitch too is all the DJs we've met. Mm-hmm. People, if you're just thinking about doing Twitch right now, hop on anyway. You'll see an abundance of DJs. But the only thing that I feel we mentioned, or you had mentioned in your talk, was DJ egos, because there are egos too, where they feel like, oh, I play for 500 to 1,000 people a night, and then they hop on Twitch and they're a big name and they only got maybe 20 people, 30 people watching.
Yeah.
They feel like, oh, this is not worth it for me. And that's okay, because then if that's how they felt. But because for me, building a community wasn't overnight. It wasn't I went on Twitch and boom, I have 100 people watching me all the time.
Yeah.
It's
so
5,
slow,
10,
right?
Yeah.
Over time.
But the consistency, and just I made my way around we call it the Twitch streets. I made sure to visit other DJ friends.
Oh, cool.
And you still network in a sense, so it doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
So.
Do you find that you get any business from that as well, from your Twitch following, where you might get some opportunities on the strip because they find out about your following, or? I'm
trying to think of lately if anything like that has happened. Because of the whole pivot, when everyone was at home, we used to get everyone watching, but now that everyone's back to business, more of the Twitch community, the church, most of them, some of them are professionals, but a lot of them are just stay at home. They still are kind of scared to go out,
Yeah.
But as far as opportunities, I'm trying to think. For me, it's more of the networking that I've done with the other DJs. I haven't had anybody say, can you do this gig or that gig off of Twitch? For me, it's been more, I make money off it, but it's a casual thing for me. Which is, does that make sense? Casual business? Yeah, like it's more fun for me, like to just sit there with my community, have a couple drinks, talk about my day, tell stories, and
like you said, it's more interactive. You're connecting with real people, so and then on top of that, it's kind of a nice weekday revenue stream for you as well, because like I'm assuming most of your gigs are on the weekends. Maybe Thursdays possibly.
Like Thursday to Sunday normally, sometimes the off day, but like Monday nights I have a slow jam night and I sit there and I'm just, like I said, just kind of just hanging out with a chat. We're reminiscing 80s and 90s love songs.
It's probably like therapeutic too.
It is therapeutic, because the funny part too about streaming is you remember like DJing rules, don't sit down while you're DJing.
Yep.
Here I am sitting on a chair in my stream, but before, we are so ingrained after doing this for so long that you can't do this, you can't do that. But on your Twitch channel, you can do whatever you want.
Because it's your channel, right?
Yeah. I said within terms of service. You can't show up like, but.
Yeah.
So it's been, like I said, an evolution of character for me too, because I feel like I became more of a entertainer. Because when I'm DJing, it's just me. I'm not really into the mic work. I'm used to playing for lounges and restaurants. So I'm not a nightclub, like throw your hands in the air, like kind of DJ.
Yeah.
So, it's been nice.
Most excited about right now in your career?
Ooh. I really go in with the mindset of just being grateful I could play the format that I like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of throwback format, as well as evolving as an open format DJ. So I'm still willing to learn. I think that's what I'm excited about. There's still different avenues here besides corporate and whatever. So I'm just excited to keep working. I just feel like I'm still in my calling at my peak, and I hope to go for another 10 years.
Love it. I don't see you slowing down anytime soon.
I know, but but also we still I feel grateful that I have that business side, like you said. We still have an event company on the side, and I'm able to spend more time with my mom. My mom lives with me, so
cool.
I'm just excited to still keep going and still provide value to the industry. That's really something.
Love it. And what's your equipment of choice? Do you have a brand choice, like controller, turntables, CDJs?
Wow, here we go. Female DJs, we always used to get crap about, oh my gosh, are you really DJing? So of course, turntables are my heart.
Okay.
But I think I learned how to use CDJs in 2006 or something. But yeah, definitely love my turntables, and I think being able to adapt to the equipment that is provided. The industry standard here in Vegas is CDJs and a, DJM or whatever, mixers or Nexus, whatever. That's still around to the OG Nexus is a lot of venues. So, but yeah, definitely still the two turntables and a mixer.
And do you use phase, or do you use just vinyl with Serato, or?
What's funny is I have phase, but I haven't used it. I have it at home, but I still use the needles because I'm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I still use
personally
needles.
prefer that too.
Yeah, I think I need a new pair.
Use a phase nowadays. It makes sense.
I need a new pair of needles, and sure went out, so I got to try and find something. But yeah, or CDJs is okay too at the venues.
Yeah.
Very good.
Love it. Well, I've really appreciated spending time with you, KrisCut.
Thank
I'd
you
love to ask you, how can people get in touch with you, follow you on Twitch, and even if they're, maybe someone in Vegas is watching this and they're looking for another DJ, how can they get in contact with you?
Oh yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at DJ KrisCut, and everyone has spelled it so many different ways. DJ KrisCut. I would say think of me, KrisCut, like French fries.
Yeah.
And then also on twitch.tv/DJ KrisCut. So those are my main avenues. I don't have a TikTok, unfortunately, or I try to keep it fairly simple still. So as not to be adding more to a crazy schedule. Social media, we all know how important that is. So
absolutely,
people don't see that we have the social media and then along with the work and then our family life and all that. So
what about bookings? If a person wants to book you, is it just through
directly
Instagram,
through my Instagram.
Okay, cool.
The only difference is here in Vegas, like I said, a lot of things are agency run. So if it's at a certain venue, we'd have to clear it with the agency.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you.